Professor Guest, and we are talking about, does God exist? And we are using logic to try to prove God's existence. There are 4 arguments that you read about in the essay, Does God Exist? We're going to go over each of the 4 arguments. We're going to use what I call the philosophical checklist. The philosophical checklist are 6 items you should look for in each essay you read. And these are the 6 items. 1. What is the philosophical question being asked? 2. Define the terms. 3. Answer the question. 4. Give the supporting argument. 5. What is the flaw in the argument? And 6. Respond to the flaw. So to practice this, we're going to go over these items for each of the arguments for God's existence. If for those of you who are religious, you might have had a hard time with the reading because it's weird to talk about God in terms of logic when you're used to talking about God in terms of religion. But just go along with it. All right, so the first argument we're going to talk about is the cosmological argument. And let's start with the checklist. 1. Does God exist? That is our philosophical question being asked. 2. Define terms. Here you need to know what an atheist is. Most of you already know, I'm sure. Someone who doesn't believe in God. A theist, someone who believes in one God. An agnostic, someone who doesn't know, that says, I don't think there's proof enough either for or against God's existence, so I don't know. And the definition for God himself, herself, itself, whichever one you like. For this cosmological argument, he's focusing on God as being the creator of the universe. So the definition of God would be creator of the universe. All right. 3, answer the question. We're going to say, yes, God does exist. And let's move on to step 4, supporting argument. The argument goes like this. When you did the reading, you could practically put it in premise, conclusion format just from reading it. All right. Premise 1, everything that exists was caused to exist. Premise 2, our world exists. 3, God is the cause of the world's existence. 4, God exists. That's the cosmological argument in a nutshell. So, where's the flaw to this? Or did we just prove God's existence? Well, we haven't proved God's existence yet. Let's see if there's a flaw. When you're looking for flaws, accept the argument as it's said, and then see if it has weak spots. What are the weak spots here? Well, think about premise 1. Everything that exists was caused to exist. Caused here means the same thing as created. And the conclusion is God exists. Well, what do we know about God if God exists? Well, based on premise 1, we know that somebody created God. Well, if somebody created God, wouldn't that being be God? And if a God more powerful than God created God, then who created that God? And on and on and on it goes. This in philosophy is called the infinite regress. And it just keeps going. So, obvious flaw. Step 6, respond to the flaw. People who like the cosmological argument come back and say, well, God is self-caused. So God created God. God didn't need a creator. We'll go back to the original argument. Normally, we leave it at step 6. Here, I'm going to throw in a step 7 just because there's an obvious response to this. God is self-caused. Then why can't our world be self-caused? Which throws the whole argument out.